What's up, everybody? It is Major Sync. On this episode of Ship Talk, we're going to be going over the Anvil Asgard, one of my favorite ships of 2025, along with the Anvil Paladin. So today, instead of going over and doing like bounty hunter stuff like I have in the past, we're actually going to do a side-by-side comparison with that and the Anvil Valkyrie. All right, so Asgard versus Valkyrie. Now the website won't actually let us do that, but we're going to do it on our own. Check it out on SP Viewer 2 to kind of get like a numbers breakdown of where they sit in 4.5. And let's just make the best of it. All right, so trying to keep this video short and sweet, so let's get right into it. All right, so I found myself on the website. We're going to start with the Asgard. Max crew of 2, a heavily armored vehicle dropship equipped for boundless resilience in the hottest combat zones. Power through relentless fire to deliver vital reinforcements, hold the front line, and keep the enemy retreating. So carries and deploys a Tumbrel Nova tank, heavy armor, devastating missile turret. All right, so go down here to the weapons. It's got a 1x2 size 3 weapon and a 4x size 3. So that pilot's going to have 6 size 3 weapons to take control of, which I really like about it. Missiles, 16 size 3 missiles, which is awesome. The turret is a 1x2 size 4, which is a pretty beefy turret. And even though you only get the two weapons on that one turret, you have a 180 SCU space. So that was one of the big things when it came out, was people were kind of worried about, like, well, if there's gonna be a tank here, are we gonna have a cargo grid? And they actually they gave us that. So definitely a big win. If you don't want to necessarily move Nova like a Nova tank, you can still move cargo. Now, one thing to take note is if you come down here, it's only got the 1x fuel tank. All right, so this thing isn't meant to quantum long distances across the verse.
It ain't got no gas in it.
It's really just for short runs, so you'll have to fill up a lot if you want to try to do like hauling to hauling missions over across for like different systems. You're gonna struggle a little bit. You're gonna have to stop a lot, so that's definitely a downside to the Asgard. So got all the weapons, 2x power plants, 3x coolers, 4x shield generators. So not too bad. So length of 48.7, 34.1 meters across the beam, and a 15.5 meter per for the height. Classifies as a medium-sized ship. Overall, pretty cool. Let's get right into the Valkyrie and see what that's about.
Initiate Operation Valkyrie.
All right, now the Valkyrie, it is a max crew of 5 versus that 2 of the Asgard. In the days of antiquity, the Valkyrie were to believed to be choose from who would live and who would die on the field of war. Now Anvil is putting that choice in your hands. Seize fate and turn the tide of battle. Rugged, high-performance jump seats safely transport up to 20 personnel into and out of the fray. So 20 is pretty impressive. A vehicle bay and speed ramp efficiently launch ground-based transport and Renaissance vehicles for unmatched support. 4 power VTOL thrusters facilitate surgically precise takeoffs and landings, while a devastating array of weaponry blurs the line between dropship and gunship. One thing to take note, the Asgard was 350 ship value. This one's 375. Heavily armored dropship that deploys soldiers and vehicles into hostile situations. Dual size 3 weapons are operated by the pilot, while 2 remote and 4 man turrets are operated by crew members. 20 jump seats and an additional 20 SCU of cargo space allow for a variety of troops and machinery to be transported. You got a total cargo of 90, so you're getting half of what the Asgard is. 1x2 size 3 weapons for the pilot, but you actually also can control these side turrets, the 2x size 4s. So for a pilot, it's not bad. You're kind of, I know you get the 6 size 3s on the Asgard, but you're trading 2 of those to beef up 2 of them to the size 4. So not too bad. Same speed, 207 meters per second. The length is a little bit different. This one's a little bit shorter. Across the beam is just a little bit shorter, and the height is substantially different too, mainly because of that missile turret up top for the Asgard. So you can compare a variant here, but that's towards the Valkyrie Liberator Edition. We can't actually compare the 2 on the website. Systems, 2x coolers, 2x power plant, 4x shield generator. So not too bad. So I've actually got this thing in the hangar too. So once we get there, we'll check those out. Let's check this out on SP Viewer and see what the armor and shield points are different. So one thing with 4.5 and engineering and armor and everything coming into the game, is I'm going to start trying to pay attention more to the number game. All right, so we're going to start keeping more of a focus on like armor points, shield points, and things like that. So we're on this SP viewer. We got the Asgard in red and the Valkyrie in blue. SCM speeds, say there's a difference. There's a very small difference there. Nav, very close to the same. Your propulsion, pretty close across the board. Shields are identical. Now your hull durability is a little bit different. Your nose and the tail hull durability is 5,000 points less than on both ends. So your total health pool, so sizable difference for the Valkyrie, 90,000 compared to 77,000, and then your armor health pool is 12,000 to 15,000. One thing to take note is there's always going to be balancing changes coming up. Remember 4.5 and engineering and armor and everything is very, very fresh. A lot of these numbers are going to change, all right? So not just across these two ships, but across all the ships in the verse. Even once they release and whatnot, they're going to all find kind of where they need to be as things change. And then we have Maelstrom coming up too. So lots of changes are going to be happening in the over the next year and stuff. So one thing to take note is, remember, when you buy ships in the verse, you definitely you got to take note that things are going to change. They're subject to change, and everything is still finding its own balance. All right, so let's get right into the hangar and check this thing out. All right, so we're in the hangar. One thing I didn't mention was, once we go through this side-by-side comparison, you're going to really see a drastic change between both ships. You got to remember the Valkyrie came out in November of 2018. So there's almost a 7-year gap between the two ships when they released. One thing about CIG, and they're not afraid to say this, is with every new ship, they get a little bit better at making ships. All right, so yes, the Valkyrie is going to be a little bit outdated. It's really not that far off in terms of like just how outdated, but there's going to be a few things that you're going to wish that you had with the Asgard, or that the Asgard offers, and you wish you had with the Valkyrie. I know that time's going to come eventually, because we know that the Valkyrie doesn't have components where you can actually like access. So that time's coming for the Valkyrie. We got to keep that note in the back of your head if you're going to like try to like dictate if you want to buy the Asgard or the Valkyrie. It's gonna need a little bit of a rework, all right, to make it up to the 4.5 standards and beyond. So with engineering everything, we like to be able to access our components and like swap out components and whatnot. You're gonna have to be able to do that like on the fly, and the Valkyrie is lacking in that department. So keep that in mind when we go through this. There's gonna be like a lot of splices, so if I enter the bay, you're gonna be able to see both at the same time and whatnot. So let's get right into it. All right, so starting off with the Asgard. The first thing that I really like about the versus the Valkyrie, you actually get the buttons. Just go ahead and click. Door opens right up. Beautiful, right? So let's go check that out on the Valkyrie real quick. And as you can see, there's no buttons here on the sides. You actually have to stand kind of back here, and you got to do the whole look for the button that's kind of sitting in the visible space. See if I can find it right there. Okay, so not something I really care for myself. I hate that about certain things, and it's kind of hard to find that button sometimes. And then you can see where you close it right there. So back to the Asgard, we're going to show you guys the components you can access on the sides. As you can see, like, you have your shield generators and stuff there, radar, all things that you can access, which all makes it really nice for engineering. You have your fuse panel, even got another one over here. Everything opens up real nice and smooth. I want to say there's some in here too, so let's check that out. You have a seat there for your crew. Nothing to like really access there, mainly for like engineering. You have your terminal, things like that, and then you have your like more of your components that you can access. All looks really nice. Everything looks really smooth. All looks really good up through here. You have your turret here at the bottom, more fuses, all really good stuff. So all looks really good. Let's go check out the Valkyrie. All right, so back to the Valkyrie. As you can see, you have the panels here, but you have no way of accessing them. So both sides can't access any of the components. Come through here, you have all your drop seats, which all looks kind of cool. Actually, very impressive that it can hold that many people. So 20 people that you can drop in. All these panels you cannot open. There's no fuse panels. So all things that's gonna have to get reworked. You have your turret down at the bottom here, but no engineering terminal or anything. So it's all something that's gonna have to be brought up to date. Back to the Asgard, as you can see, you have these like storage containers here along the wall, each side. You have the same loading or the bay doors on the sides. You do get the buttons for the ramp here if you wanted to close the rear ramp, close the side door. Everything looks great there. Then you have the Gatling gun, the size 1 Gatling guns on the sides. Very much the same as the Valkyrie. Operates very smooth. Got to grip the gun here. All very, very good. Very much the same as the Valkyrie. All right, so back to the Valkyrie storage area, just like the Asgard. Got your Gatling gun, side door, no buttons here. Remember, you have to do the whole find the button visibility trick. Close the door. Now you do have this thing here you open up. It's got this blast door that comes up if you want to pull something in without making things go a little too far or something like the Nursa or something will fit back here. So plenty of space for Nursa and other ground vehicles. You're just not going to get that Nova tank. All right, so not enough room for a Nova. That's what the Asgard's for. So let's go check out on the top on both sides. So as you can see, the Asgard has this big glass that where you can view out and view in. With the Valkyrie, this ledge actually comes up farther, like closer to back here, so it actually looks much darker in this area compared to the Asgard. What that does is gives you access to that top turret for the Valkyrie. And they also need like more beds and things, so like it goes back further back, offers you the bedding, but really not a lot here to really offer. You have your bathroom there. I want to say you have captain quarters, or well, crew quarters here. So got your lockers, come up, and then you go into your cockpit. Let's actually check out not only the Valkyrie crew area, but let's check out the turrets too and just do a comparison. All right, so back to the Valkyrie, you can see this kind of almost like shelf-like, where you know the second story makes it much darker in this little bit of area, which I like a little bit better in the Asgard with it being more open, better lighting. We'll come up here. One thing to take note first is those are railings and there's no glass. So technically you could like throw things or something if you desired. We'll come up here. We'll check out the quarter area. All right, so you can see this should probably be your bathroom on this side, but then there's no on this side because all the bedding is exposed. All right, so exposed bedding, turret, and then you have turret here, and then your cockpit. So let's check out the turrets real quick. So this is where things start to get really different between the Asgard and the Valkyrie. We're sitting here in the bottom cockpit of the Asgard. You get these two size 4s, very, very capable turret. One someone's going to be very happy to be sitting in. The thing is, things change though with the Valkyrie drastically. So we only get the one with the Asgard, but you're going to get 4 different turret seats for the Valkyrie. So let's get right into those. So the Valkyrie only has a 2 by size 3 on the bottom, and the same could be said for the top. Now the top having 2 size 3s here for me is a little bit underwhelming. I really would have thought they would have at least had these 2 as size 4s. I feel like if you're going to compare the two and you want to give the Valkyrie a reason to be just a little bit more powerful, I feel like that's very lacking in terms of like, especially if you go to compare it to the Anvil Paladin. I feel like they could have got away with putting 2 size 4s up here on the top. So you do get the size 4s on the side. We'll check those out. One thing about the gunner seats is it's kind of this weird trying to get it into it. So let's see if we can do that again. You got to find the right spot to try to get into it. There we go. And as you can see, you only get 1 size 4. All right. So yes, size 4 is good, but I feel like if you're going to try to persuade somebody to come in and like play a gunner role in your ship, I feel like, hey, I got 1 size 4 here you can run is also very underwhelming. So I don't understand why they wouldn't. I feel like we're lacking the size 4 department in terms of the Valkyrie. So it's going to be the same on both sides. Now you can access the MFDs here from the gunner seats. So that is a thing. Just trying to get into the turret itself can be, like I said, can be a little bit tricky. And be careful not to shoot our Asgard, but same thing on the right side of the ship. You get the 1 gun. Now it is important to take note that the pilot has control of this weapon if someone's not sitting in here also. So it's a huge thing. So let's go right into the cockpits and check those out. So remaining with the Valkyrie, as you can see, you have the 4 weapons with the you get the 2 size 4s on the sides, then you have the 2 size 3s, which is makes it a very capable fighter if you're by yourself. So if you can't find someone to run those gunners on the sides, you're gonna be doing just fine. You can still run them. It just gives you rid of that like 180 aspect on the sides, but still makes it a little bit more fun for the pilot to be able to have those. And then sitting here in the Asgard, as you can see, you have the 6 size 3s. Now personally, you think the size 3s are probably like maybe a little bit lacking, but every time I've taken this into the any kind of like bounty hunter mission, I actually come away pretty impressed with the 6 size 3s. I actually really like it. At no point am I thinking I wish these were size 4s. They are very capable. Now with 4.5 and things like that have changed, I've noticed things are, if you're flying solos, become quite a bit tougher. So yeah, there may have been time before 4.5 that I could go and do like a high risk bounty hunter mission with this thing. Personally, it's probably medium risk is about where it should be sitting if you're gonna be by yourself. This thing doesn't really move very fast, so being able to escape 4 or 5 different ships at once at the same time it gets pretty tough. All right, so I do like the 6 size 3s. Another thing, while we're sitting here in the pilot seat, you can tell all the MFDs have that classic Anvil feel. All looks really good. And kind of Anvil to me is like one of the better manufacturers in terms of just all around, from looks to everything that we wish for these ships to be, MFDs wise, and everything is just, Anvil is probably like the most well balanced in terms of what they have to offer. So all looks really good. Let's go check to see if it's the same on the Valkyrie real quick. And as I thought, the Valkyrie is right up to par. Everything, CIG does a really good job with keeping up the MFDs and whatnot. So everything looks really good on both ends. So it's definitely not lacking that department of the, like, you're not losing anything there. So, and last but not least, let's check out both exteriors of the ship. I know that's what everybody's waiting for. So last but not least, let's check out the exteriors. As you can see, lots of differences between the two. If you haven't noticed yet, I've taken the Asgard around the verse a couple laps or two. Love the way they got the thrusters on the Asgard. Definitely kind of shows like, hey, we're carrying a tank, right? We've got to land bigger engines. The way they were able to reposition these, and I think it really just makes the Asgard kind of make you wish the Valkyrie was the same way in a way, honestly. So maybe you can say, well, the Valkyries are maybe a little bit more sleek, but the way those top thrusters are, those engines, I love the way that looks. All looks really cool. It's got that classic tail fin, same as the Valkyrie. Your side fins maybe a little bit different. You don't have those size 4s hanging off those fins. let's see it from a Valkyrie perspective. Definitely a lot more sleek. Got those rear thrusters tucked away. Definitely makes a lot more sense. You know, remember dropship for people versus dropship for a tank. So this one's going to be able to be a little bit more better for like combat and stuff. So looks really, really good. Even for, you know, we talked about the 7-year difference between the two, but Valkyrie has done a really good job in terms of keeping up. So definitely love both of them in terms of just that classic Anvil look. I love how the paneling on the top, you got those like folds of the paneling. Love that the fin work with the thrusters and the engine and whatnot. All looks really, really tough. So I never was one for the Valkyrie until the Asgard came out, and it makes you reconsider the Valkyrie in a sense. So we'll get right into all that here in a second. All right, guys, so we're sitting here. We've covered everything in terms of Asgard, Valkyrie, Love and Thunder, right? So we have the Asgard that I love, Valkyrie, the Thunder that with a little bit more power. I know I'm going to be asked, like, well, Matrix, what would you choose? Which one would you rather have? And the biggest thing to take note of both ships is we really don't have that gameplay yet, what these two ships are intended for. We don't have a reason to go and drop a Nova tank for any kind of mission. We don't have a reason to drop 20 players into a mission. That gameplay is just really, for the most part, not there yet. One day I hope, you know, we all are living towards that dream of what Star Citizen can be, and one day we're gonna have a reason to go and do a mission where we have to drop in a tank or drop 20 players in, and whether that's NPCs or even real players, whatnot. that gameplay loop isn't there yet. So for me personally, if I had to choose one for right now in 2026, I think you have to go the Asgard. And I say that because with the 180 SCU, you can go out and you can do hauling in it. Now remember, you're not going to get very far because we only have the one fuel tank, and it's really not designated to go from system to system. But for moving something from, let's say, Port Tressler to New Babbage or Hurston to Microtech, you're not going to have a problem there when it comes to traveling and whatnot. So for me, I like the extra space. I love the 6 size 3s. I felt like the Valkyrie maybe is a little bit lacking in terms of its top and bottom turret. Not a big fan of the 1 size 4s on the sides. I will tell you though, when I do a lot of these bounty hunter missions, I'm not really happy about going against a Valkyrie. So for my certain kind of gameplay loop, I'm going Asgard. So Love and Thunder, and I think love prevails here. All right, so take that as you will. It's a little bit cheaper too. You're saving $25 if you decide you want to buy the game outright, or buy the ship outright. Remember, when I say that, you don't have to. I think one is like 18 million in game and the other is like 19 million in game. All right, so right now with where we're sitting in 4.5, credits are no issue. I know it's going to change with a full wipe coming in the future, so you may decide you want to go out and spend real money for it. Remember though, guys, you don't have to. All right, guys, so that's it for this episode of Ship Talk Asgard Edition, Love and Thunder. Thank you all for watching. Appreciate you guys. Make sure to hit the subscribe with the bell. And if you're looking for more daily content, hit the links in the description, guys. Love you. Bye.